Hey, I'm Reverend Jocelyn, a minister of healing, speaker, and women's ministry coach. I grew my ministry from a simple blog to a national Christian trauma healing movement. And now I help women to answer their call to build purpose driven ministries and businesses. Welcome to Reverend Jocelyn Talks, where healing meets purpose. Hello, my beautiful sisters in ministry out there. It is Reverend Jocelyn, and welcome to another episode of Reverend Jocelyn Talks, a show that's committed to helping you to answer that call that God has put on your heart. Whether you are a author, a speaker, maybe you're a aspiring nonprofit leader, whatever that vision is, we want you to be able to say yes to it, which is why I put women before you who have answered that call. Now, if you're a first timer, sis, welcome. I'm so glad you found us. And I want to make sure that I bless you with a tool that's going to help you to take your next step forward. And that is a ministry launch starter kit. In this kit, you can learn about organizing your ministry, how to put that kingdom business plan together, and a number of other tools to help you along your journey. You can get this free resource, plus a lot of other cool tools at sisterstartyourministry.com. Again, that is sisterstartyourministry.com. Now, today I am here with a sister who I just adore. She is actually one of the coaches, specialty coaches in my marketplace ministry mastermind, where we coach women in building up their ministry and kingdom business. And she is renowned in the AI space. She actually has the title of AI Lady Boss. And you're going to understand why they call her the AI Lady Boss in a minute. But in addition to that, she is a transformational strategist. She's an entrepreneur. She's an author and speaker. She's one who's hosting international conferences in the AI space. Like, I pulled her at a very busy time where she's preparing for another international summit. And so this sister is really amazing. She loves technology. And one thing she's passionate about is helping women like you to be able to integrate AI in such a way where you're able to leverage it so that you can increase your impact. And so I was excited to bring her on the show with us today. And I want to welcome to you the lovely Stacy Hines. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. That was a lovely intro. Thank you so much, Reverend Jocelyn. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, girl, it's all true. It's all true. And when it comes to AI, I'm actually a fan of AI, and clearly you are. You
Yes.
know, uh, And and we're gonna definitely spend time talking about it, but I think is an important question I always like to ask sisters before we talk about the topic at hand. It's just a little bit more about your faith journey and, like, where you're from. Just tell us, like, who is Stacy Hines?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I will say that my journey is actually quite storied. I've written a book called 5 Year Love Affair. You guys can pick it up on Amazon. But I'm originally from Jamaica and I grew up in the Caribbean region and then migrated when I was pretty young, when I was just 9 years old, migrated to the US to live with my dad and spent the majority of my adult life there. And then recently, I suppose you would say when I was rebuilding my life, which now it's not so recent anymore. It's actually like 2013. Oh my gosh, that's a minute. I moved back. I moved back to Jamaica to heal from cancer and divorce and depression and becoming a single mom at a time where it was just very unexpected. And I've been charting my way between the US and between Jamaica since then. And it's been a really beautiful journey of, being a part of different communities, meeting and interacting with persons like you and other amazing women in the community. But it's through my, I would say, life collapse is what I call it. Through my life collapse that I was really able to redefine and resurrect the person that I knew I was meant to become, the life experience I was meant to have. And I've been doing that work ever since. Yeah.
Man, that's beautiful that, you were able to ascend from life collapses, like those moments, where things spiral. And in that time, I mean, obviously God has taken you on some different paths because the industry that you're in now, particularly as it relates to AI, this is something new. Like we're living in what was like kind of like 2000s when the internet boom happened.
Yes, yes,
AI, is really
yes.
taking the world by storm. And so prior to doing AI work, what was life like for you?
Okay, that's a great question. So I've always considered myself a woman in tech. So I'd say maybe I have a little cheat because I am very comfortable with technology. I started in tech when I was 9 years old. That may sound a little strange, but I used to go to work with my dad. He was a systems operator on Wall Street. And whenever he would have the night shift, I would be going to work with him and in that refrigerator room that just had these big machines. And so I fell in love with AI, but not with AI, I fell in love with technology from that point because I was just fascinated by the machines and what they could do. And so I did it all the way through school and have always had technology as a part of the experience, including when all the big things came out, right? So internet and mobile and Microsoft, Windows, I was a part of being a practitioner. And being a practitioner kind of sets you in a different perspective, always consuming, always supporting, but not building or creating. And so I really needed to get us an understanding of the difference between being a consumer or even a practitioner in this space and becoming a builder and a creator. And that is the transition that has happened for me with AI. It's like I saw this stuff coming around and I was like, I'm not missing this one. Right. And so so I stepped in kicking and screaming because I had all these other things going on. In the sense that I tend to be a visionary and I love creating new and different things. And so I had multiple different programs and then it was like I kept getting pulled towards AI and then pulled towards focusing on AI and starting to surrender all the other things. And not only now am I a practitioner and a builder, but I'm also somebody that believes in education and empowerment, especially for women.
Oh, that's really cool, Stacey, to know that you have had this background in the tech space like this for years. So it was only natural for you to say, all right, I'm not missing this one. This thing is here. But let me ask, did you really expect AI to just take over like this? Did you see it being something where it was like such a part baked into our everyday lives the way it is now?
Well, what I would say is that it was actually already being baked into our everyday lives. It was just behind the scenes. So I love whenever I'm doing my workshops to do a little bit on the history of AI because I think a lot of persons don't connect the dots between, say, Alexa and Siri and Google Maps and Roomba, the vacuum cleaner. All of those things are actually artificial intelligence. But the big tech companies really did not feel they were at a point where they could expose generative AI to everyday persons, which is where now you are able to interact with the machine and it generates something for you. And so you have this startup that comes along and decides, well, we're just going to do it. We're just going to open AI, which is the name of the company, and make it accessible to everyone. So, what most persons are seeing when you think about the AI that you experience every day and that's blowing everybody's minds, it's really just the tip of the iceberg, literally. Beneath the surface, there is so much more that is happening. It's like our understanding of when you turn on the light and you just know that you need to buy a light bulb and screw it in or flip the switch. And you may, even have a little bit of knowledge about circuits and stuff. But behind that, you have grids and all these amazing things that are happening that we don't have a clue about and we really don't want to know about. We don't care about that part. We just want the light. Right. And I feel that that's the direction that AI is headed in. Now, the question that you asked was whether or not I knew it was going to be this massive, significant shift. I will say that I didn't know it was going to happen this quickly, but technology compounds faster than money. And so, with machines learning from us and learning at a compounding rate, that is what has really created the acceleration that we're all experiencing. So, I'm here for it, though. I'm here for
I'm here
it.
for it too. I'm here for it too. I mean, it's one of those things though, with something that is such a disruptor. I'm saying that because it could be described in other ways, but I will say disruptor in a standpoint of it's in our faces, it's here to stay, and in some cases, it is replacing. It's replacing, and that can cause people to be afraid. It can also create innovation. So what is your how do you respond when people talk about like how AI is kind of mixing things up in the business world and in other places as well?
Yeah, that and truthfully, this is the conversation that I don't avoid. I think it's something that we need to actively be talking about as human beings, because it is humans that are behind AI. Human intelligence is what created artificial intelligence, and this there are lots of different challenges and problems, risks, issues that have evolved out of risks that we have to stay in the conversation with. And I believe that now is the time to be having those conversations when you still have good actors and good humans who want to make sure that we are safeguarding ourselves, our planet, our work, our children, our future, our legacy, while we all advance. So, what I would say is that it's important to get educated. I think too many persons who may not fully understand AI or are only paying attention to the things in the feed, which if you're looking at, oh my gosh, we're losing water, and oh my gosh, it's killing trees, or the ocean is getting hot, or data centers are hot islands. Like if that's all you're consuming, then that's what you will also be fed, because that's the way the algorithms work. And without individual understanding, it's just like knowledge. Like when you talk about knowing yourself and knowing God, and that's the foundation of everything. It's the knowledge, because without it, it's difficult for you to be empowered to change things for the better, or to understand when things are not getting better so that you can take action. So that's essentially how I tend to approach it. I mean, I have these conversations all the time because my kids are always challenging, Ma, don't you see that AI is going to boil the ocean, or it's going to get rid of water? Like, how can you be doing this for a business? So I have to have those discussions on a consistent basis around the fact that, yes, we know that there are risks, and we have to be able to leverage both the technology as well as our intelligence to solve these problems. Because one of the things that we don't recognize is that the use of the internet, social media, and all of those things was what was creating the data centers before AI got here. But nobody was talking about data centers then. It's just now, because AI consumes so much more power, that it's like, oh my gosh, AI is going to kill the planet. Oh, no, it's human beings. We are the creators, we are the consumers, and we are also the ones that control a lot of the things that we end up fearing or talking about. So that education piece is really important. I mean, think about it. YouTube has been functioning on AI since I think 2015 or 2016.
Mm.
Right?
Mhm.
And we're all consumers of YouTube. A majority of us are consumers of YouTube. Similar
Mhm. I love
to,
YouTube.
yeah, there you're on YouTube.
Mhm. Mhm.
So if we are consuming the content and we are on the feed, and then we turn around and say, oh, AI is killing everything. How can you be teaching AI? How can you be implementing AI? It's a bit contradictory. But if you are not educated to understand what is actually happening, then you're taking a stance that doesn't add up, right? So my first thing is always educate so that you can empower and enable, and in particular for women, because the data is showing us that women are the most averse, and over 80% of the jobs that are going to be replaced by AI are held by women. And that's because it's heavily administrative rules, repetitive tasks that are going to be easy for AI to take over. But then the conversation about people losing jobs and, oh my gosh, the fear of that. Can I tell you that there are so many jobs? When I tell you, when you look now for people that are hiring for AI support, AI skills, and they're willing to train you, they're willing to teach you the AI so that you can do the new AI job. I mean, hundreds of thousands of jobs, but nobody's looking at the jobs that are available. They're only like thinking about what you could lose. So it's a whole new paradigm shift for all of us, myself included. I'm constantly learning, and it's as I learn, I teach and seek to empower and enlighten and hopefully create some kind of access to taking part in this amazing change we're going through together.
Wow, my mind is blown, and I have a number of questions to ask you, but we need to take a quick commercial break. And when we get back, I'm gonna ask some questions, and particularly how it relates to women of God and women who are building their kingdom businesses and ministries. So stay tuned, sisters, and we'll be right back. Back when I first started my ministry, I didn't have clarity. I knew God called me to help people and serve Him, and I was passionate about sharing testimonies of His healing power. I just didn't know how to turn this passion into a plan. So I met up with a girlfriend and I told her, hey, I left my full-time job to start my ministry. I'm gonna launch this YouTube channel and share all these amazing testimonies. It's gonna be great. And she just stared at me with this blank look and she said, Jocelyn, I don't understand your business model. How are you gonna financially sustain yourself? And in that moment, she stopped me in my tracks because I realized that passion is powerful, but it won't pay your rent. Even when you're doing God's work, you still need structure. You need a strategy. You need what I like to call your kingdom business plan so that you can make a lasting impact. That's one of the reasons why I wrote my book, Sister, Start Your Ministry. Now, this is not just a motivational book. It's a step-by-step guide to help you get clear on your calling, build a strong foundation, and launch and grow a transformative ministry that glorifies God. And I get it. Trying to figure all this stuff out is exhausting. I've been there. But I want you to know that you don't have to learn this the hard way because I've been there before you. I grew my ministry from a simple blog into a national trauma healing movement, and now I coach women across the country to do the same. So trust me when I say this book here is your shortcut. You'll walk away with tools, strategies, and biblical clarity to build a ministry that changes lives and honors God. So grab your copy of Sister Start Your Ministry at sisterstartyourministry.com. Don't just dream about it. Take the step and start your ministry. All right, sisters, welcome back from that commercial break. I'm here with the lovely Stacy Hines, the AI lady boss, and we having some real conversations over here about AI and what's really going on behind the scenes to some degree, because we understand there's a lot involved with that. But also, we're talking about how we can use AI as a vehicle, a tool to help us to really grow and expand our impact. So, Stacey, that's my question for you. For sisters out here, particularly women on my channel, they're looking to build their kingdom businesses and they're looking to build their ministries. And some of them might be like, I'm not good at technology. Like, it's a little intimidating. I might use a little chat GPT to write an email or something like that. But other than that, they're a little nervous about it. Like, what have you seen in terms of AI being a great tool for women who want to make an impact, and particularly talk to the woman who is like a little technology averse?
Well, first of all, I will just say that AI is for the tech averse. I've never encountered any technology that is more for people that says, I don't know nothing about technology. AI is for you. And it is the great equalizer. That's one of the conversations that I think has been so prevalent. And I love it because it actually is. I started off out of university as a developer, as a programmer, and I was working for ADT Girl. I got a nice job in Boca Raton, Florida, and I was like, oh yes, I'm gonna do this. 3 months later, I was fired or I left. I can't remember which one it was. But let's just say it didn't work out. Right. And I immediately after that went into training. So I was a trainer for Microsoft Office products. So all things Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, Windows 95. Oh my gosh, I'm aging myself. But it was just such a nice experience to step into that. And I think I really stepped into what I was called for, which is to use my voice as a vehicle for empowerment and enablement. Didn't quite understand it then. I was young and learning and growing, but it was such a wonderful way to step further into technology and to find a way to teach that made people feel included. No, fast forward, technology became more and more complex. You had more and more tools, devices, and I think a lot of persons just felt a lot more intimidated as time went on. And it created a wealth barrier as well, because if you were in business, and you had technology, then 100% you were able to move faster, you were able to accelerate. But for persons who had always dreamt of being in business, the first thing they hear about is, oh, you need to have a website. Oh my gosh, website. I have to hire somebody. I don't have money for that. I have to pay somebody and I have to pay for the tools. So there was a huge barrier there. I had a friend that paid $100,000 to build her website. And can I tell you, now Lovable, Gamma. I mean, there's just, you
There's so
can
many
click
tools.
on. It's like, yeah, it's just on, right? And this is available with just speaking. You don't even have to be a great prompt engineer or any of those things. You just essentially have to know what you are seeking to create. What is the outcome that you want? And if you can see it and create a vision for it, you can have it, you can make it, you can build it.
That's exciting. I'm telling you, and it's so cool because you actually came and met with the women in our mastermind community, teaching them all these tools as it relates to AI and their minds. I was watching them as their minds were like blown, and they were like, "Oh my goodness, what was a barrier for creating this website or creating this tool or creating this presentation? Now you can do this. Literally, you could just, like you said, speak it and then go about your day, do something else, come back later. You got a whole website in 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and so this is the great equalizer. But I think here's also people have a choice because if people wait so long to adopt this tool, it's not just the fact that it's available. Some people are still very resistant to it, and you're gonna see a separation because it's those who are using and leveraging the tool and those who aren't. Would you agree?
100%. You said two things that were really important. First thing, you talked about community, which I think is one of the ways that we're seeing an emergence of people connecting to each other so that they can learn together and they can grow together. That's so important. And that's one of the reasons why I love working with you and with your group, because there is a community of like minded and like values people that are coming together to build. So that's important and that's very available. The second thing that you said is about this divide that's being created, because we are seeing now where there is a pulling away of the technology. AI is becoming more complex in that you are finding where you can do far more advanced things. Creators are building technology, they're building applications that you would be using on a day to day basis, and they're doing it just sat at their desks. And then you have other persons who are like, oh, let me wait and see. By the time you finish waiting and seeing, it's going to be like electricity, where you're just plugging in and you're consuming. You're no longer, you don't have access to building anymore, whether because it's too expensive or the tools for building have been locked off.
So what I'm hearing, if I'm hearing you correctly, it's almost like would you say a window? It's like this period, like this is
Yes.
like that, like
Yes.
early adopter, not early, because I don't think it's early, but
Well, technically, we're still kind of in the early adoption window, even though you would say that there has been a lot of advancement. The distinction between 2024 and 2025 was not that big a significance, right? Because the AI tool itself was still being developed. But you see, 2026, like by the time we got to the middle of the year 2026, these AI tools were just like blowing up. And so it's just become so much more advanced in the skills that it allows you to take advantage of. And if you're still just getting accustomed to chat GPT and not trying other things, or you don't have a sense of what problem can I solve, not just help me write an email, but what problem can I solve in my life or in my business, then that divide is going to get wider. Yeah.
That is important. I hope you all are listening. So, Stacy, like, what what are some tips just for someone who's just getting started, who's like, "Uh oh, I'm listening to them. Let me try to do a little bit more." Like, what would be some advice you would offer them to just kind of get used to some of the technology?
Okay, so first of all, I love this question, and I'm going to provide a couple of different ways that you can approach it. If you are already using a tool like ChatGPT, you already use it whether it's on your phone or on your laptop. What I would say to you is to spend the next 30 days wherever you're starting from. It doesn't need to be the first of the month, y'all. Okay, ladies, I know y'all like to say, okay, so she said 30 days, so let me start on this first off. No, right where you are now, go into Chat GPT and say, okay, I'm starting a new project and I'm going to talk to you every day for 30 days, just talking about what I do every day. You can do it at the beginning of the day, at the end of the day, both. And at the end of that 30 days, ask Chat GPT based on what you know about me and what we've spoken about over the last 30 days. What should I use AI to do that could drastically change my life? Okay. And you can even say, "What could I have AI help me do that would allow me to 10x my business?" Right? So that's the first one. If you're actively using the tool already, and it doesn't have to be anything special. You could literally just be using it for emails, even entertainment, to make photos, whatever. Go to your tool of choice and just start talking to it every day for 30 days. Even if you miss a day here and there, just get in the habit of having that conversation. So, right after prayer and meditation in the morning, right before prayer at bedtime, or when you're reading your book, right before all of that, you just go over what the day was like, things you struggled with, etc. Now, if you're starting from scratch, maybe you don't have any tool selected as yet, or even if you do, you can do this one as well. You can look back through the last month, like check your emails, check your photos, look at where you may have been complaining about something. Think about something that bothers you, something that you either always complain about, always have to repetitively do that drives you crazy, and go to an AI tool. Chat GPT is very accessible, as is Claude, very accessible. You can start off on a free plan. And the lowest tier in terms of pricing is only $20. Even if you want to try it for 1 month, $20 is not a lot of money. You spend that, on lipstick. So you get in the tool and you say, I have this one thing that I have to do over and over again. Like I have to keep writing emails and sending out reports after I have had meetings. Can you tell me how AI can help me to do this better? Walk me through step by step. Is there a way to automate this so that I can save 5 or more hours every week? Because the minimum amount of time people are saving when they're not experts is 5 hours. So if you're using it and you're not an expert, 5 hours a week is what you're saving on doing tasks. If you are experienced and using it, 20 hours a week. That's a whole half a human working for you, right? So those are the two ways that I would say get started. There's a third option that's more visual and visionary, and it's great to do in Chat GPT. And it's I like to use the millionaire vision because most of us have a millionaire path that we have, especially if we're doing business or even if we're building a ministry and want to create real great impact through a nonprofit. And you can essentially go on to Chat GPT and say, chat, it's 6 months, 4 months, 5 months to the end of the year. I want a millionaire roadmap that I can follow to allow me to hit $1 million, $2 million, whatever your millionaire dream is, or get me on the path to that by the time I get to January 2027, or whenever you're watching this, that time frame. And then ask it to create a visual that you can put on your phone that has your money floating from we can do a prompt or something and share with people. I don't know how we're going to do it, but there's just lots of different ways that you can engage with AI to put you on the path to learning AI better.
Oh, that is fun. That's amazing. I'm gonna actually do a couple of those things myself. Just inspiring. And that's what's very cool about AI. It's objective. Like when I talk to AI, and you notice I say talk to AI. I no longer type half any of my stuff to AI. I'm talking to it. And a lot of times I'm brain dumping. I'm literally rambling, like, okay, just let me get this out of my head, make some sense of this, and it does. It just takes my scattered thoughts it gives me back something that I can work with, and it does save hours. I'm probably doing 10 to 20 hours that is saving me. And the more you find out these tools, the more it's going to save you and eliminate barriers. So I am challenging everyone who's watching or listening to this podcast to take up at least one of those challenges, whether it's the 30-day challenge, whether it's the visionary challenge, or just having it just give you some feedback, whatever. Please do something with it after this episode. Yes. So, Stacy, man, this has been so fun. I appreciate your advice, and I would want people to know how they can learn more about you, the work that you're doing. Please share some information about how they can connect with you.
Absolutely. And thank you again for having me. So I can be reached at my website, which is epictransformation.net. epictransformation.net. This is where I share all the work that I do in terms of both my speaking as well as workshops and courses. And there's lots of free resources that people can have access to because we're all curious right now. Maybe you don't want to pay for something right away, and that's okay. This is a time for curiosity and for learning. So I have some of those resources available on my website as well.
That's awesome. And people, if you could just check out her website in the show notes, well, make sure to have a link there. She is doing some great things and she is about her business, y'all. She is truly an AI lady boss. And so we appreciate you, sister. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really, really enjoyed our conversation today.
Yeah, we had lots of fun, and y'all, let me tell you, I'm gonna be doing some of this stuff. You think I'm playing, so and I hope you take me up on that too. But thank you for hanging out with us today. And if you enjoyed today's episode and you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and like this episode and share it with a friend. Or maybe you're listening to this episode on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We also appreciate you sharing it and leaving a review. Also, if you're a sister who like you're called to build this thing, this ministry, this kingdom business, this thing that God has put on your heart for years, but you've been a little afraid, or maybe you just don't know what that next step is. I really want to help you to take that next step. I have a member of my team who is dedicated to literally connecting women to resources to take their next step in ministry. So you can book a free resource connection call. Well, we'll ask you a couple questions about what resources you're looking for. And then, literally, by the end of the call, you are going to have resources sent to you to help you with organizing, helping you to start that healing ministry, helping you to get the funding or just getting your business plan in place. Whatever that thing is, we want to encourage you to book a call today so you don't have to continue to do this alone. So check out the details in the show notes today on how you can book that call. And again, thank you. Thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Until then, take care. God bless.